I stared at the email confirmation on my screen, and for the first time in 4 months, I felt like every sleepless night had actually meant something. 2 Super Bowl tickets. Club level, row 5, 50-yard line. This was not just about watching a game. This was about being seen, being valued by someone who actually understood what I had sacrificed. I had not told anyone yet because I wanted to surprise my little brother Jake with the news. He was going to lose his mind. But as I sat there smiling at my computer, I had no idea that in just 2 hours this moment of pure joy would turn into the most expensive lesson I would ever learn about trust power and the real cost of standing up for yourself. Before I tell you how my boss's greed became his biggest mistake, let me know where you are watching from in the comments below. If you have ever dealt with a toxic boss who took credit for your work or made you feel small, hit that like button right now. Trust me, you are going to want to subscribe, because what happened on Monday made everything worth it. Now let me take you back to where this whole mess started. I had been working as a senior project manager at Sterling Media Group in Atlanta for 3 years. The job was demanding, but I loved it. I loved the creative challenges, the strategy sessions, the satisfaction of seeing a campaign come to life. But this past project had been different. This one had nearly broken me. 4 months earlier, we landed the biggest client our company had ever signed. Marcus Brennan, the CEO of Brennan Restaurant Group, wanted us to handle the launch campaign for his upscale restaurant chain as it expanded into 15 new states. The contract was worth $2.3 million. For a mid-sized agency like ours, this was everything. This was the kind of client that could transform our entire business. The timeline was brutal. Marcus wanted the full campaign done in 4 months, instead of the usual 8. That meant every aspect of the project had to move at double speed. Market research, creative development, media buying, digital strategy, influencer partnerships, and the full rollout across 15 markets simultaneously. It was an enormous undertaking. My boss, Dale Thornton, was the VP of operations. He was 52 years old, always wore expensive suits, and had a corner office with a view of downtown Atlanta. When Marcus signed the contract, Dale called me into his office and told me this was my chance to prove myself. He said if I could pull this off, it would open doors for me. I believed him. What Dale did not mention was that he had no intention of being involved in the actual work. He wanted the credit without the effort. Over the next 4 months, I worked 70 to 80 hours every single week. I was at the office until 2 or 3 in the morning regularly. My team consisted of 4 people, but I ended up carrying about 70% of the workload. Sarah and Tom, 2 of my colleagues, did their best to support me, but the responsibility fell mostly on my shoulders. I missed my brother's 20th birthday because I was in the office, finalizing media buys. I canceled a weekend trip with friends because we had a presentation deadline. My girlfriend at the time got tired of me constantly canceling plans and breaking promises. We broke up after 2 months into the project. She said I had become married to my work, and she was not wrong. Dale, meanwhile, showed up to exactly 0 of the late-night work sessions. But every time we had a meeting with Marcus or his team, Dale was front and center, presenting our work as if he had been personally involved in every decision. He would say things like, "We really pushed ourselves on this campaign," and "Our team worked around the clock." Technically true, but the implication was always that he had been part of that effort. Marcus seemed to buy it. Then came the final presentation. It was a week before the Super Bowl, and we were presenting the complete campaign to Marcus and his entire leadership team. I had barely slept in 3 days, making sure every detail was perfect. When we walked into that conference room, I felt the weight of 4 months of exhaustion on my shoulders. But the presentation went flawlessly. Marcus loved everything. The creative concepts, the media strategy, the digital integration, all of it. At the end of the meeting, he stood up, shook my hand, and said in front of everyone, "Guy, this is exceptional work. You and your team have exceeded every expectation." Dale tried to interject with something about company culture and team leadership, but Marcus politely redirected the praise back to me. He said, "I have been in business a long time, and I know the difference between the person managing and the person doing. Guy did this." I felt validated in a way I had not felt in months. After the meeting, Dale barely spoke to me. I knew he was annoyed that Marcus had called me out specifically, but I did not care. I had earned that recognition. 2 days later, I was at my desk catching up on emails when I saw a new message in my personal inbox. The subject line read, "A small thank you." It was from Marcus. I opened it and my heart actually skipped a beat. Marcus had written a personal note thanking me for my dedication and hard work. He said people like me were rare, and he appreciated everything I had done to make his vision a reality. Then, at the bottom of the email, There was an attachment. 2 PDF files, Super Bowl tickets, club-level seats. Row 5, 50-yard line. Each ticket was worth $8,500. His note ended with, "You earned these, guy. Enjoy the game with someone special. Thank you for making magic happen." I just sat there staring at the screen. This was more than just expensive tickets. This was a gesture that said, "I see you. I see what you did." That meant more to me than any bonus ever could. The first person I thought of was Jake. My little brother was a junior at the University of Georgia, and he was obsessed with football. He had never been to a professional game, let alone a Super Bowl. I could already picture his face when I told him. This was going to be the surprise of his life. I was so excited that I made a mistake. That afternoon, we had a team meeting to debrief on the Marcus project. Everyone was in a good mood celebrating the successful completion. I was talking with Sarah and Tom about plans for the weekend when I mentioned almost casually that I was going to the Super Bowl. Sarah's eyes went wide. "Wait, what? How did you get Super Bowl tickets?" I grinned. "Marcus sent them to me as a thank you gift." "Club level row 5. Tom whistled. "Dude, those are like $8,000 each. That is insane." I was about to respond when I noticed Dale standing in the doorway. He must have been walking by and heard us talking. He stepped into the room, his expression unreadable. "Super Bowl tickets?" he asked. I nodded. "Yeah, Marcus sent them to me yesterday. It was really generous of him." Dale's face did something strange. His smile stayed in place, but his eyes hardened. "That is nice," he said slowly. "Really nice." There was an awkward pause. Then Dale turned and walked away without another word. Sarah looked at me with concern. That was weird. I shrugged it off, but I felt a small knot of unease in my stomach. Something about the way Dale had looked at me felt wrong. But I pushed the feeling aside. I had the weekend ahead of me, and on Monday, I was going to call Jake and tell him about the tickets. Everything was going to be perfect. I had no idea how wrong I was. Monday morning arrived, and I walked into the office at 8:15, feeling good. I had spent the weekend thinking about how to surprise Jake with the news. Maybe I would drive down to Athens and tell him in person. Maybe I would send him a cryptic text and make him guess. I was still deciding when I set my bag down at my desk. Before I could even sit down, Dale appeared at my cubicle. His face was stern, his posture rigid. "My office," he said. "Now." I followed him down the hall, confused. He closed the door behind us and did not offer me a seat. He just stood there, arms crossed, looking at me like I had done something wrong. About those Super Bowl tickets, he began without preamble. I relaxed a little, thinking maybe he wanted to congratulate me or ask about the game. "Yeah, I am taking my brother. He is going to lose his mind." Dale's expression did not change. "Actually, I need those tickets." I blinked. "I am sorry, what I need those tickets," he repeated slower this time, like I had not heard him correctly. I laughed nervously. "Dale, I do not understand. They are my tickets. Marcus gave them to me." Dale leaned against his desk, adopting a casual posture that felt anything but casual. "Let me explain the situation. We have a major investor named Gordon Westfield. He has been on the fence about putting $5 million into our expansion plans. I have been trying to close this deal for months. Gordon is a huge football fan, and I told him I could get us both into the Super Bowl. This is the perfect opportunity to seal the deal." I stared at him, waiting for the punchline. When none came, I said carefully, "Dale, those tickets were a personal gift to me from Marcus. I already made plans with my brother." Dale straightened up his tone, shifting to something harder. "Marcus gave those tickets because of the company's relationship with him, not because of you personally. Technically, anything received through work belongs to the company." I felt heat rising in my chest. "That is not how it works. Marcus sent them to my personal email, not my work email. He specifically thanked me for my personal effort. These are mine." Dale sighed like I was being difficult. "Listen, guy. You are a smart guy. You know how the corporate world works. I need you to be a team player here." I stood up from the chair I had not realized I had sat in. "I am a team player. I have been a team player for 4 months straight, working nights and weekends while you took credit for everything. This was my reward for that." Dale's face darkened. His voice took on an edge. "Let me be very clear. Gordon Westfield's deal will determine bonuses for everyone this year, including you. Are you really going to jeopardize your team's bonuses over a football game?" The manipulation was so blatant it almost made me laugh. "Do not put that on me," I said. "You had months to plan something for Gordon. You can buy tickets yourself." Dale let out a cold laugh. Do you know how much club-level seats cost right now? 15, 16,000 a ticket? That is not in the budget. But taking my tickets that are worth the same amount is okay. Dale ignored the logic entirely. This is not a debate. I am asking you to do what is best for the company. The room fell silent. I looked at Dale and realized with sinking clarity that this was not a request. This was an order wrapped in polite language. He was using his authority to take something that belonged to me, and he expected me to just hand it over. I made one last attempt. Dale, I already told my brother. He has been counting down the days. This means everything to him. Dale's face showed no emotion whatsoever. Then tell him something came up. He will get over it. He is 20 years old, right? Plenty of Super Bowls in the future. My hands clenched into fists at my sides. You cannot just take something that was given to me personally. Dale stood up to his full height, his voice rising. Actually, I can. And I am. You should be grateful you have a job here, guy. A lot of people would kill for your position. The word grateful hit me like a slap across the face. After everything I had done, after 4 months of sacrificing my life for this company, he was telling me I should be grateful. He continued, his tone final. Bring the tickets to me by end of day today. That is final. I stood there unable to speak, feeling like someone had punched me in the gut. Dale waved his hand dismissively. That is all. Close the door on your way out. I walked back to my desk in a daze. My hands were shaking. I felt betrayed, humiliated, and utterly powerless. Dale was a VP. He could fire me any time he wanted. If I refused, I would lose my job. If I complied, I would lose my self-respect and break my brother's heart. Sarah noticed immediately. You okay? You look like you have seen a ghost. I could not even answer. I just shook my head. I sat down at my desk, staring at my computer screen, without seeing anything. My mind was racing. I thought about Jake, about the phone call I would have to make, telling him I could not take him anymore. I thought about Dale sitting in those seats enjoying a game he had stolen from me. The rage and helplessness mixed together into something suffocating. But then something shifted. Dale had said, enjoy the game. As if it was already decided. As if I had no choice. A strange calm washed over me. An idea began to form in my mind, still vague but growing clearer by the second. I opened my email and pulled up the message from Marcus. I read it again slowly. You earned these, guy. Then I opened the company intranet and searched for the employee handbook. I found the section on gifts and personal property. I read through the policy on email regulations and employee rights. A plan began to take shape. It was risky, but it was the only way I could think of to take back control. I needed time, and I needed to act natural. I decided I would comply with Dale's demand, but I would do it on my own terms. I spent my lunch break researching instead of eating. I called Marcus's assistant, Emily. We had worked closely together throughout the project, and I trusted her. Emily, I have a sensitive question about the Super Bowl tickets Marcus gave me. There was a pause. Okay, what is going on, guy? I explained the situation as diplomatically as I could. My boss is saying the tickets belong to the company, not to me. I just want to make sure I understand the situation correctly. Emily's response was immediate and firm. Those were a personal gift from Marcus to you, guy. He was very specific about that. He even paid for them personally, not through the company account. They are not a business expense. Relief flooded through me. If someone else were to use them, would Marcus need to know? Emily paused again, clearly sensing something was wrong. What is going on, guy? I decided to be honest. My boss is taking them from me. He says they belong to the company. Emily's voice turned sharp. That is absolutely not true. Marcus will want to know about this. Can I tell him? Not yet, I said quickly. But can you do me a favor? Can you email me confirmation that these were a personal gift, not a business expense? Emily was quiet for a moment, then said, I will do better than that. Give me an hour. Exactly 1 hour later, I received an email from Emily with Marcus copied on it. The email stated clearly that the Super Bowl tickets were a personal gift to Guy Thornton in recognition of his exceptional dedication to the Brennan Restaurant Group project. It confirmed that Marcus had purchased the tickets personally and that they were not affiliated with any business transaction or company relationship. Marcus had added his own line at the bottom. Guy, Emily told me there might be some confusion. Those tickets are yours. Period. If anyone has questions, have them call me directly. I took screenshots of everything and saved multiple copies. I forwarded the email to my personal account. Then I did something else. I sent Dale a follow-up email documenting our conversation. Dale, per our conversation this morning, I understand you are requesting the Super Bowl tickets that Marcus Brennan personally gifted to me. I want to confirm this is an official directive from company leadership before I proceed. Please confirm in writing. Dale replied within minutes, clearly annoyed. Yes, bring them to my office by 5 p.m. today. This is official. I smiled at my screen. Dale had just dug his own grave. I also printed out the section of the employee handbook regarding personal gifts and looked up state labor laws on property rights. Everything confirmed what I already knew. Dale had no legal right to those tickets. At 4:30 in the afternoon, I walked into Dale's office carrying an envelope. Dale looked up with a smirk. Good man. I knew you would see reason. I placed the envelope on his desk without a word. Dale opened it, pulled out the contents, and smiled with satisfaction. Perfect. Gordon is going to be thrilled. This is going to be a great game. I kept my voice calm and measured. I am sure it will be. Enjoy the game, Dale. Dale seemed surprised by how easy this had been. That is the spirit. See, being a team player pays off. I nodded and turned to leave. As I reached the door, Dale called out, "Oh, and Guy, let us keep this between us. No need to mention this to the team." I paused and looked back at him. Of course. Would not want anyone to get the wrong idea. I left his office and closed the door behind me. Dale had no idea that the envelope did not contain the real tickets. Sunday arrived, and the Super Bowl was everything I had hoped it would be. Jake and I sat in those incredible club-level seats, row 5, right on the 50-yard line. We watched an amazing game, ate overpriced stadium food, and made memories that would last forever. The tickets I had given Dale were fake. Well, not entirely fake. They were printouts with barcodes from a game that had already happened last year. I had used basic photo editing to make them look like this year's tickets. The real tickets were digital printable from the original email Marcus had sent. I had simply printed the legitimate tickets for Jake and me. I did not post anything on social media. I did not tell anyone at work where I was. Jake and I just enjoyed the game in peace. Meanwhile, Dale and Gordon showed up at the stadium gate, scanned the tickets I had given Dale, and were denied entry. Invalid barcodes. Dale must have panicked. He probably argued with security, maybe even tried calling me. I had silenced my phone for the game. In the end, Dale had to buy last-minute tickets in the nosebleed section for $3,200 each. He paid out of his own pocket. And Gordon Westfield was not happy about being promised club-level seats and ending up in the upper deck. Monday morning, I arrived at the office at 7:45 earlier than usual. I wanted to be at my desk when Dale came in. I did not have to wait long. At exactly 8 o'clock, Dale stormed through the office, his face red with anger. He did not even wait until he reached me. He just pointed at his office and barked, "My office. Now." I walked calmly behind him. He slammed the door so hard the walls shook. "What the hell did you do?" Dale exploded. "Those tickets were fake. You deliberately sabotaged me." I kept my voice level. "I gave you exactly what you took from me, Dale. Tickets I received as a personal gift." Dale's hands were shaking. "You made me look like an idiot in front of Gordon Westfield. Do you have any idea what you have done? That deal is dead because of you." I pulled out the printed emails I had been carrying in my bag. "Actually, let us talk about what you did. You coerced me into giving up personal property by threatening my job security. Here is Marcus's email confirming these were a personal gift, not company property. Here is your email demanding I hand them over. And here is the section from our employee handbook, stating that personal gifts received from clients belong to the employee, not the company." I set the papers on his desk one by one. Dale's face changed from angry to worried. "You cannot prove anything." "I do not need to prove anything to you," I said calmly. "But I think HR and Marcus Brennan would be very interested in this situation, especially since you used company resources and a major client relationship to try to impress a potential investor for your own gain." The room went silent. Dale stared at the papers on his desk, and I could see the moment he realized he had made a terrible mistake. His tone changed completely. "Look, let us not make this bigger than it needs to be. What do you want?" "I do not want anything from you, Dale," I said. "I just want to do my job without being exploited or manipulated." Dale tried to defend himself. "I was not exploiting you. I was trying to close a deal for the company." "By stealing from your employee," I said. "That is not leadership, Dale. That is bullying." I stood up. "I have already forwarded all of this documentation to my personal lawyer." I am not planning to go to HR or Marcus unless you give me a reason to. But here is what is going to happen moving forward. You are going to leave me and my team alone. You are going to stop taking credit for work you did not do, and you are never ever going to threaten my job again. Dale looked defeated. Fine. We are done here. I walked to the door, then paused. One more thing, Dale. The next time you try to take something that does not belong to you, make sure the person you are taking it from is not smarter than you are. I left his office and did not look back. 2 weeks later, Dale suddenly announced he was resigning to pursue other opportunities. The official story was that he wanted to spend more time with his family. The reality, which I learned through Sarah, who heard it from someone in HR, was that Gordon Westfield had filed a complaint about Dale's unprofessional behavior. When HR started investigating, they discovered a pattern of Dale taking credit for other people's work and creating a toxic environment. The Super Bowl incident was just the final straw. 1 month after Dale left, I was promoted to his position. I became the VP of Operations at 28 years old. Marcus Brennan also increased his contract with our company and specifically requested that I lead all future projects for the Brennan Restaurant Group. As for Jake, he still brings up that Super Bowl every single time we talk. It has become his favorite story to tell at parties. He has no idea how close he came to not going. I am sitting in my new office now, the one with the view of downtown Atlanta that used to be Dale's. Sometimes I think about that whole experience and what it taught me. Standing up for yourself does not mean being aggressive or vengeful. It means refusing to be walked over. It means knowing your worth and not letting anyone diminish it. I also learned that respect cannot be demanded or stolen. It has to be earned. Dale tried to use his authority to take something that did not belong to him, and in the end, that decision cost him everything. And maybe most importantly, I learned that karma is real, especially when you document everything. Have you ever had a boss try to take credit for your work or steal something that belonged to you? Drop your story in the comments below. I would love to hear how you handled it. And if this story resonated with you, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel so you do not miss more stories about standing up for yourself in the workplace. Share this video with anyone who needs a reminder that they deserve to be treated with respect. Thank you for watching, and remember, never let anyone make you feel like you should be grateful for being treated poorly. You are worth more than that. Take care of yourself out there.